today, which is not something I typically do, but I'm going to have you guys open on my computer and on my phone so that I can make sure that I can answer all your questions. But I wanted to come on today because I shared a video earlier that was really about the identity shift that I made in my business that I feel is the reason why I have been able to maintain a full-time business for the last 7 years. And so I want to talk to you about that today because I know there's quite a few of you who message me, who reach out to me and talk about either the business you already have or the business you're wanting to create. And so whether you are going to join me live, again, this was not planned. So hello, if you are here or if you're going to watch the replay, please let me know in the comments. And I just want to talk to those of you that I get a lot of emails and messages asking me questions about how do you step into fully something that you know is on your heart to do. And the video that I shared earlier was me sharing a part of my journey that was about 7.5 years ago now. I left my corporate job with really just a dream of creating something bigger than myself. Hello, I'm excited to have you here. And that was at the time, I didn't have clarity around what that was. It really was just, I want to create a platform. At the time, it was to inspire and empower women. But honestly, I kind of felt like a hot mess myself. And so I was like, who is actually going to listen to me? How would I make money from this? But I kind of got sick and tired of myself and my excuses and my own limiting beliefs around what was possible for my life. And so I booked a one-way flight to Paris because I figured I can always come back and find another job. I, at the time, was single. I did not have children. And so it made the decision easier. It was still was extremely challenging because at the time, my identity was wrapped up in my work. It was wrapped up in who I thought I was based on the labels and roles that society assigned me. And I know that's the case for a lot of us where we almost lose sight of who we truly are, don't even get the chance to know who we truly are because we end up on a ladder, whether that is a family ladder, a career ladder, a money ladder, whatever your ladder is, that maybe wasn't even yours in the first place. And so I decided to leave that all behind. I moved to Paris and I had about 4 months of savings. And so I knew I had about 4 months to figure out what I was going to do to make money. And that both gave me a little bit of time to play and be free and figure out who am I beyond the roles and labels and identity that I had made my own, but in hindsight was never mine to begin with, and sit with the discomfort of just being with myself, right? And in that video I shared earlier, you are watching one of the very first workshops that I held online. It was in 2018. I was starting to share my story on Instagram specifically about this idea of wanting to create a new feeling, a new expression, a new idea of who I am, and also discover who am I when everything is stripped away from me. I don't have friends where I am anymore. I didn't know anyone. I didn't speak the language. I was very out of my comfort zone. And I started sharing that on Instagram and people started resonating. And so I decided to host a workshop online about what I was learning on this journey. And I remember, I think it was like $25 and like five people signed up. And I was so excited, like beyond. I could not believe that people actually saw value in what I had to share and offer. And I remember like really being nervous about it, but having an amazing, great time doing it. And I started to do more of those. And I was starting to build my confidence and understand and find my own voice and making mistakes along the way, but being okay with that. And going through the feelings of publicly failing or figuring it out as you go along, because a lot of people, when they want to step into entrepreneurship, they want to have it perfectly mapped out. I have a lot of clients who I work with, and the reason that they are sitting on either starting their business or going to the next level of their business is they have this idea of, well, once I have all my ducks in a row, everything's perfect. I have to like map out my full plan for the next 10 years, then I'll do the thing. And what I have found is while it is great to have a plan, I'm not telling you to just, oh, whatever, I'll just figure it out. At a certain point, you don't need to think about what you want to do anymore. You need to go and do it. And so I even have clients who have been full-time entrepreneurs for years and they're wanting to expand to their next level and they're sitting thinking about it because there's a feeling of discomfort of stepping out of what we already know. So no matter where you are on that journey, and the reason specifically I wanted to do this live today was to talk to any of you who are feeling that pull, whether it is to step into something where you want to create something for yourself that ultimately helps other people, or maybe you're already doing that, but you know that you are playing small within that. The biggest lesson I learned in that journey of hosting these workshops and kind of figuring it out as I go along was that I had to get comfortable with the idea of being uncomfortable, of not knowing everything, of not knowing how the story was going to play out. And because I was living in Paris and most of my audience at the time was in America and Canada, there's a very large time difference. And I remember about I would say maybe almost a year into starting what is now my full-time business. Again, I was still kind of figuring it out as I go along. I was making some money at this point, but definitely not replacing my old salary by any means. And so we were still figuring it out. And I hosted a free workshop where I wanted to teach some people what I learned thus far, right? That I thought could be helpful. And I prepared for it for months. And I was going to be hosting it starting at midnight my time, which in America was the afternoon, early evening. And I spent months and weeks preparing the slides and doing all the things. And I had two people sign up and on that free workshop and actually joined, rather more than signed up, but only two people showed up. And I remember feeling a bit disheartened. And the video that I posted on my shorts, if you haven't watched it, I would encourage you to go back to my shorts after this live, is at 3 a.m. when I finished that workshop because I gave my heart and soul to those two people who ended up becoming my clients later on, by the way. And my boyfriend, now husband, came out and filmed a video of me because he heard me finish. It was 3 in the morning. He was asleep. And I remember at that time not really knowing where this journey was going to take me and wondering, am I wasting my time? Again, I was making some money, but it was by no means had replaced my old full-time income. And I was coming to a point where I needed to decide, like, what am I doing here? Am I going to keep going all in on this thing? Or am I going to get another job? Am I going to just hope I can get some, I was doing consulting work on the side. And I wish I could go back to that version of me now and tell her that the decision to keep going, to not let temporary discomfort get in the way of what in my heart I knew that I wanted to do, even if I didn't have all the details, I couldn't have described it in great detail with all the specifics. I knew in my heart I wanted to create something that could empower and serve other people and use my own experiences, my own story to do that. I didn't know how that would happen. And from that day until now, I have now worked with almost 2,000 clients all around the world, and that wouldn't have happened had I given up and fell into perfectionism and all the things. And especially for those of you, because a lot of you reach out and share with me that you want to help other people in some way. And I think sometimes we doubt whether our voice is good enough or we're afraid to go live. If you notice, I'm live right now, I don't have makeup on, my hair isn't done. But in the beginning of my journey, I probably would have been panicked over that. I would have been like, what are they going to think of me? But I am so rooted and anchored in who I am that while I appreciate you being here, you listening to me, I don't take that for granted at all. I am also not frazzled, even if there was only one person on here, if there was zero people on here, because I had to become the version of me that could not just have the vision, but hold the vision and actually bring that to life. And that's a lot of the work that I still do today with my clients and why I'm so passionate about identity work. Because at the start of my business, once my business started to take off, a lot of people were asking me for business advice. And I love business strategy. That's actually my background is brand marketing and business strategy for brands. And so I love being able to do that for individuals. But what I also learned really quickly is that it doesn't matter how much we know how to do if we're not embodying the person that actually believes we can do it. If we're not embodying the version of us that's willing to go beyond the walls of our comfort zone, that's willing to have the lump in your throat before you go and say something or introduce yourself to someone that maybe you feel a little bit intimidated by and do it anyway, that fumbles through your elevator pitch and feels a little silly, but picks her head up and does it the next day. And that is the work, especially for all of us, but especially if you are going on this path of purpose driven entrepreneurship or you're on the path. And I'm sure if anyone's watching this live or on the replay and you're an entrepreneur, you know that to be the case. There are going to be ups and downs and more ups and downs and more ups and downs that will have you questioning yourself. So if you don't know who you are and you're working from an old identity that cannot come with you where you are going, it will never work. It doesn't matter how amazing your idea is. Because again, having worked with so many clients now, I can see the difference between someone who I know is going to fly and exceed and do amazing things in their work and business, and someone who probably will be in the exact same spot 6 months from now. And it has nothing to do with, oh, they have a better idea, or they're more intelligent, or they are faster, or they, in some cases, not even to do with they have more resources. I've seen people who had very limited resources far exceed those with more. And the reason why was this inner work, this inner identity. Because again, at the beginning, when I didn't trust myself, when I was not clear internally, it felt hard. It felt like work. It felt like I was fighting against myself. And when I started to actually get clear on what's aligned with me and not just trying to reinvent the wheel on what I think everyone else wants or what the shiny object of the week is, because trends are always changing. As we all know, we are online. We see something one week and then we're on to the next thing the next week. That is when the shift happened. I had to realize that and now even working with clients often don't have a strategy problem. I'm not saying strategy isn't important, it absolutely is. And I teach and talk about strategy. But more often than not, I see an identity problem where I keep changing my offers or my price or my niche based on what I think other people want from me, where we don't trust ourselves and we're not clear internally. So then externally, we cannot be clear, right? Because you cannot build a consistent business if you are not consistent and aligned with yourself. And so for me, I really love helping people get clear for themselves first, so that then you can go out and get clear with the who, the what, and the how that you want to make an impact. And once I fully showed up and owned those things, everything else flowed so much easier. And I am really excited, as I shared on the post this week, to be doing a live class with anyone that wants to sign up. It's a free class this week on Thursday. If you are either you already started a business or you are wanting to start a business that is ultimately helping other people, I'm going to be walking you through a process to get really clear on what it is that you are here to do, who, what, and how you are meant to help, and how to communicate and package that and share that with the world. That is linked in my bio if you want to join me. It will be on Thursday. And if even if you can't join live, sign up anyway because you'll get the replay and you will also get the invite to the next class that I'll probably do later in April as well. So I'll drop that link in the chat here too. But I would love to see some of you there who are either kind of at the start of this journey and maybe looking at, okay, how do I make this something more consistent, more flowing, or have been thinking about it, and maybe started a little bit on your own, but really haven't told anyone about it. And you're like, I know that I need some help and support. And the community that shows up to these workshops is always great. We'll be on for about an hour and a half on Thursday. And like I said, even if you can't join live, you'll get the replay as well. But this is really why I'm so passionate about this work, because I personally have experienced the benefits of internal alignment and being a co-creator of the life and business that I desire. And also, I've witnessed it for my clients. Like I said, I've worked from people who are just getting started with zero clients, zero idea what they're doing, and help them grow to full-time businesses. I've worked with people who already have full-time businesses who are feeling stuck or stagnant and help them remove blocks and get clarity on what it is that they're moving towards. And I'm just really passionate about it and really excited about those who want to create great work in the world, whether that's through a business or not. But especially if you're doing it through a business, I know how isolating and lonely it can be. And so my intention through anytime I host these workshops or through my group coaching programs or things like that is to provide community, provide a space where you can say, hey, I'm confused. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not feeling confident about this. I'm scared. I don't know how to say what it is that I do. I am worried what my friends or my family or people on the internet are going to think about me, because those are all thoughts that all of us have had, will have. And so I'm really excited to do that class on Thursday. And it's also part of the reason why I started this YouTube channel, because as I've shared, I only started this 5, 6 months ago, but I have been having a full-time business for the last 7 years. And what I felt and realized is that a lot of the personal work that I do for myself, that ultimately, there's no disconnect between me and my business because I am the creator of the business, right? So it all has an impact, it's directly connected. I felt that I was doing a disservice to people by only talking about the business side because I actually, in my own life, as you all see from the videos that I share, I do a lot of personal work to be able to sustain a full-time business. Yes, of course, I do a lot of strategic work, but that is 20% of the game. If I only focused on strategy, I wouldn't be here right now. 80% of it is me getting in the mirror every day doing my mirror work. It's me scripting what it is that I desire. It's me journaling through my old stories, old identities, recognizing patterns and behaviors and habits that are no longer serving me, that are keeping me stuck from an old identity, that are my ego getting in the way of myself. Because whatever it is that you want to create, and especially I saw someone say you have an in-home daycare, and yeah, especially if you're, you work in silo. For a lot of us, we're working in homes, and obviously your business is in your house, so that is of course the same for you. It can be lonely, and then you feel like you're the only one, and no one else wants to talk about what is actually going on. And so I'm really passionate about community in general. That's why I host events and retreats all around the world, and especially for those of you who know you have this vision that you can see it. You may have doubt around it. You may not know how you're going to do it, but inside of you, there's something more. And I believe that we are all here to be of service to each other. And so, what if we came together and just allowed each other to be seen, to understand who we are beyond our titles, our roles, our bank accounts, who are we at the core, and to actually support the real work, which is the internal work? Because externally, nothing that we desire can fully flourish and be sustainable and come to life until we are internally aligned. And so I'm really excited. Like I said, this Thursday, we're going to be talking more about this. I'll probably do another class later in April. So even if you don't join this one, just sign up anyway so that you make sure that you get on our email list and you get access to the other classes. I'm going to keep doing more videos around identity and creation and manifestation and all the Delulu things that I talk about, which I'll even just share briefly. I was saying, you may know that I have a private community called The Shift, where we go deeper into these practices. And it is a beautiful community. I'm actually about to go in there right now and we're doing a Delulu challenge this month, and I've created a 7-day video challenge for them. We're doing a water fast. We do so many amazing things in that community as well. And it is such a beautiful space where everyone witnesses each other and supports each other. And what I was saying, because I saw someone just share, struggling navigating with other people in your lives who maybe don't have the same beliefs or having surface level relationships. We were actually having this conversation on our last call in the shift. Every month, I do an hour and a half to 2 hour group coaching call. I personally coach people in the group. And we were talking about the idea of what it means to be Delulu. And I use that word because initially you will feel a bit insane because what is considered normal by 85 to 90% of the world is outside of what we're talking about when we're talking about being absolutely delusional about what we're doing. But I truly believe that it's actually more delusional to stay in zombie mode, meaning living the same year after year, with slight little changes, when we are so much more powerful, intelligent, and I'm not just talking about brain smart, I mean like intuitive intelligence than we give ourselves credit for. And when we really tap into that, the sky's the limit. It doesn't matter what you want to do, what business you do or don't want to create, where you want to live. You can, and I'm saying this from a position of privilege, but also having worked with people who are far beyond situations than you can possibly imagine in terms of not being a position of privilege. And the ones who completely shift their life, it is this work. It is not being bound by what you see with your eyes, what you sense with your senses right now in your current, day-to-day life 3D reality, and tapping into something that you can't see, but you can create through identity work, through your mind, through the power of belief, of the stories, of the thoughts that you tell yourself, the feelings that you allow yourself to feel as if it is already real. And so I use the term Delulu because I understand that's how you might feel initially, but I really want to affirm to you that This is actually the least delusional thing that you can do. It is more delusional to say, I'm going to keep living the same year after year and calling it a life. If you are happy with how it's going, great. But if there's something you want to change, if there's something pulling inside of you that knows that there's more on the other side, it would be crazy to not do it. Hi, Adele. Good to see you. Yes, today we've been talking a little bit about identity shift, how it's played a role in my business. I know there's quite a few people in this community, as I was sharing before, who want to or do have a business, want to go to the next level. And this is the work. And it's a lot of the work that I do with my private clients. It's a lot of the work that I do in workshops and things that I host. We're doing another workshop on Thursday that the link is in the chat. If you want to join us, it's a free workshop for anyone that is wanting to use their experiences to create a business or grow a business that serves other people. And I'm just really excited about the ripple effect because while I am sharing my perspective and experience, I also always share, as I was saying in my community, like I learn from them too. And I learn from all of you. I read all of your comments, and some of you share things. I'm like, oh, I never thought of that. And if more of us start to do this, where we start to get honest and aligned, and even sharing what we're still figuring out, like it doesn't have to be perfectly wrapped up in this pretty bow all the time. We can just authentically share, even when we're in the midst of I'm confused and I don't know what to do about it. Do you know what that could create if more of us were doing that in our friendships, in strangers on the internet, in the chat, in lives like this? That would create more opportunities for all of us feel seen, to find our own voice, to connect to our own inner knowing. There is such power both within you, but also within the collective of all of us. And I love that the world is now shifting to a place where we are becoming more aware of the innate power within us. One of the core things that I always say to people that sign up to work with me is, listen, I am here to support you, to give you this space. I'm going to give you knowledge that I've learned, but you are the answer. Do not rely on anyone else to fix you, to heal you. You are the answer that you're looking for. Everything that you could ever desire is already within you. And it's not until we realize that we awaken to the power within. And that is what I mean by shifting identity, by stepping into who you've always been, but maybe forgot, by remembering the truth of who you truly are. And more than anything else in my life, I can't speak for anyone else, but the journey of entrepreneurship is where I have come up against myself over and over again. As I was saying before, you know, 7, 8 years ago when I first started, there was absolutely no way I would have just went randomly live on a Thursday. I'm like in comfortable clothes. I don't have makeup on, like whatever. I'm confident in who I am and what I'm doing now. I did not feel that before. Does it mean that I have it all together and that I know everything? No, but I'm so much more internally aligned that the external cannot help but match up to that. And so I'm really blessed and fortunate that the people that tend to find me, that tend to work with me, are also in that same energy and tend to be very giving and sharing. And like I said, I also learn from them in different ways as well. And I am just really excited for this community that's growing, for I see people make connections in the comments, create accountability partners with each other. Like that is so cool to me because the answer is all within you. And when we start to share what we're learning, what we're experiencing, what we're feeling with each other, that is where the magic can happen. That is where we can each start to remind each other who you truly are. Because I think, again, unfortunately, life is going to life, right? And so there will be circumstances, situations, experiences that you may have had or may have in the future that will have you forget who you truly are, that will have you doubt yourself, that will have you make the situation mean that you are not good enough, that you are, not worthy enough, all the stories that we can play out. And I really am passionate about helping you remember that the answer is you. The answer will always be you. That when I'm sharing things and if it resonates with you, it is really just because you already knew that. I'm just reminding you of the truth of what you already know. And sometimes we have to hear it multiple times. You might be hearing it from me. It might be hearing it from someone else on a podcast or on in the train or on the bus or on your way to work. That helps you remember who you truly are. So Again, I'm really excited for Thursday. I keep looking down because I'm also looking at the comments that you guys are leaving here and making sure I'm not missing anything on my computer. And if you are either creating a business, wanting to create a business, wanting to grow a business, please join us on Thursday. It is a free class, it's 90 minutes. If you are not on the time zone that is great for that time, that's okay. Sign up anyway. You'll get the replay and you also get the link the next time that I do a live class. That will be at a different time slot, so you can probably join that one live if you want to. But I'm really excited, and I want to thank you for joining this live or watching the replay. I'll actually stay on. I know I can't tell how many, I think there's a few people on here. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. I'll stay on for another like couple minutes and wait and see if anyone asks a question. But as I said before, I do not take it for granted when someone watches a video of mine, when someone leave, especially if you leave a comment, because I know that before starting YouTube, I didn't realize like how important or valuable that would be to the creator that someone leaves a comment about something that they took away or something that was helpful. As creators, whatever you're creating, we can spend hours on things. And it is so amazing to hear someone else receive your work and get something from it, even if it was just a small thing, big thing, doesn't really matter. So I don't take it for lightly. Those of you that have left me comments, that have sent me an email, that have DM'd me on Instagram, I am at the Bravo Life on Instagram and Facebook. If you're not following me there, I'd love to say hello. I know YouTube, we can't like DM each other, but I am a social person, so please send me a message on Instagram or Facebook and let me know that you were on here, that you found me from YouTube, and I will likely send you a voice note back saying hello as well. I know that we're all consuming content on these platforms, but I really appreciate actually making a human connection, which is again why I do so many live events and retreats and things of that nature. Great. Well, I don't see any questions. I'm going to hop off. And like I said, this was not planned. This was I just got up and was like, I'm going to go live. We're just going to do it. So I hope to see some of you on Thursday. If you do have questions, like I said, you can just DM me. Otherwise, I will see you on the class. Thank you, everyone, for hopping on.